Well, guys, it feels like Nintendo is going throughout their checklist and marking off everything that they have left before they move on to the second half of this year. Obviously, this morning with the recent Pokemon Presents, Nintendo added something else to their list to check off, and it seems like it's almost time for the big reveals for the rest of this year, and maybe even some for the beginning of next year. Real quick before we dive into today's video, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe before we get started. You guys have been doing awesome to help us reach our goal of 400,000 subs by the end of the year. You guys had over almost 270 brand new subscribers in yesterday's video alone. So let's see how many we can get in today's video. But let's dive into the news. So yeah, like I said, it seems as if Nintendo is now getting pretty much everything that they have announced at that Switch 2 Direct that had dates out of the way. Mario Kart World is officially out and has been out for over a month now. Donkey Kong Bonanza just released at the end of last week, and we just got a Pokemon Presents that was announced a couple of weeks ago as well. Not to mention, in a couple of days, we will have Mario Party Switch 2 Edition with that Jamboree TV info, and then the only thing that we have left, or should I say only two things we have left, is another Switch 2 Edition game with Kirby and the Forgotten Land getting its Starcross World Edition, and of course Dragon Drive, both of those coming out in August. But Nintendo was also doing some other things too to keep us waiting. For instance, they just came out of nowhere and dropped a trailer for Splatoon Raiders, which we have no info about, and they also came out and just said, hey, here's the actor and actress playing Link and Zelda respectively in the movie, which was just kind of crazy out of nowhere with no other information once again to kind of give us any other characters that are going to be playing in the movie. Anything, just straight up, here's the actor and actress for Link and Zelda. So yeah, Nintendo's just giving us kind of, bits of information over the course of the last month and a half, but I think it's definitely time for Nintendo to start giving us some info on the rest of this year, and of course, in the beginning of next year. Now, one thing that I'm still mentally stuck on is the fact that we don't know anything about a holiday title. Now, let's be honest, it looks like Nintendo is probably going to just go with Pokemon Legends ZA, which is strange to me. Yes, Pokemon's going to sell. You could have a Pokemon poop game and it's going to sell extremely well, especially on new hardware. Finally letting the game look and run a lot better than they did on Switch 1, that's for sure. But with that said, it's still a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 game, and for that to be the big holiday game and for it to be a Pokemon game instead of, one made by one of Nintendo's first-party core developers, it's very strange to me that they don't have another game going along with it. Now, it could still be Kirby, it could still be Hyrule Warriors, but even those games don't sound like a holiday game for Nintendo. A big game to close the door on their really big, successful first year of Switch 2. Now, what makes this even more likely is Nintendo announced a Switch 2 edition of Pokemon Legends ZA, and the only other Switch 2 edition we have right now is for Mario Kart World. So it's kind of just screaming in my face that this is going to be Nintendo's big holiday title, which once again, I'm sorry, it's strange to me. As someone that's not a huge Pokemon fan, I played some of the games. I even 100%ed Sword and Shield for some reason, don't ask me why. It's actually one of my first mainline games. I'm just not a huge Pokemon fan, and I know there's a lot of other people like that out there that are just gonna be like, I got this Switch 2, what the heck am I gonna play with it? It could be, joined alongside Metroid Prime 4 for this holiday, but once again, it's just kind of in my eyes where I'm like, okay, this is a Switch 1 and Switch 2 game. I feel like Nintendo wants a really big Switch 2 exclusive game to close out this holiday. And then you might ask yourself, well, maybe it's Splatoon Raiders. Well, it's hard to say when Nintendo's not really giving us any information. Now, Nate the Hate has come out and said that there is going to be a Nintendo Direct this month, and he stated that it is going to be after Donkey Kong comes out. Well, guess what? Donkey Kong is out. The Pokemon Presents is done, which means the door is blown wide open for Nintendo to do something very, very soon. Now, some people think there could even be a Nintendo Direct this week still, like literally tomorrow or Thursday. Well, obviously tomorrow is kind of out of the question because here it is Tuesday, and at the time I'm recording this, it's about 2:30. And yeah, Nintendo hasn't announced any sort of Nintendo Direct or anything for tomorrow. So the last opportunity would be for them to announce something tomorrow morning for Thursday, but personally, I don't think we're going to be seeing anything at least until the very last week of July. And even then, I'm still a little bit iffy on that's going to happen, whether or not. And if it does, I feel like something awful is going to happen, like a partner showcase or something, where it's just like absolutely no info on Nintendo first party still. Now, something else that I'm going to touch on eventually in its own video is once again going back on that hunt for Mario, because Donkey Kong Bonanza is a spectacular game, and I see a lot of people online talking about about, you know, what's Mario going to do, you know what I mean? Because if you played Donkey Kong Bonanza and you completed it, you'll probably agree that even though it's a spectacular game, and I'll even say I think it's better than Odyssey in my opinion right now, it still just doesn't feel like a 3D Mario. There's not that platforming love that this game offers. I feel like the platforming is a little jank at times, and you know, it's more of a digging, climbing, punching simulator instead of the platforming that we love from Mario. And Mario just gives us a different feeling with its games. So a lot of people are still once again starting to raise that question, all right, where's 3D Mario? And of course, with Donkey Kong out of the way, with Mario Kart out of the way, it's probably the next big, huge Switch 2 game to really expect outside of maybe something like Animal Crossing, Star Fox. I don't know. What else would it be? Because it kind of has to be. I mean, you could also say Smash Brothers, Mario Maker, maybe even the next Luigi's Mansion, which are all great options, but man, I'm really expecting this 3D Mario to have an official reveal sometime this year. I mean, it also makes sense because Mario's 40th anniversary is coming up, and with all the big festivities that they had on the 35th, you would expect the 40th to be even crazier, wilder, and bigger than what Nintendo did 5 years ago, where they don't have to have a collection of games this time around, or a whole bunch of crazy announcements, or a whole bunch of remakes, remasters, and ports of classic Mario games. There's only one thing that fans really want, and it's the next big 3D Mario game. So if they come out with a Breath of the Wild scale, open world 3D Mario game, I mean, that's all people are asking for at this point. They come out with that, they automatically win everybody's hearts over, and it's just, you know, the greatest celebration of all time. Mario's 40th is complete. Of course, they could give us a movie 2 info, which the movie is coming out, I believe, April at the beginning of next year, so I'm sure they had to give us something soon, whether it be some new cast members, some new characters, something with the plot details, something, like a preview trailer, I don't know, but at the end of the day, I am expecting a general Nintendo Direct relatively soon, maybe even followed with a Mario-themed 40th Direct. Now the question is, when is this stuff going to happen? We're still waiting. I do believe, Nate the Hate, that something is going to happen. I just hope that it's a general and not a mini or a partner showcase in the next couple of weeks, or at least, you know, and I guess it's only this week and next week, so Nintendo's got to move quickly. But with everything out of the way, Nintendo's slate is completely clean. They have really no release dates past August, and no real big releases coming up anytime soon. So hopefully Nintendo has some stuff to flesh out and some stuff to give us info on and get us hype again. But let me know in the comments down below what you think Nintendo's plans are for the rest of this year and the beginning of next year. What announcements do you want to see, and when do you think the next Nintendo Direct is going to be? Leave a like, subscribe, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.